Hi, this podcast is about the 5th January 2024 incident involving an Alaska Airlines Boeing 737-9 aircraft. During takeoff from Portland International Airport to Ontario, California, and while climbing through about 16,000 feet, there was a loud bang, and the left mid-exit door plug departed from the aeroplane, leading to a rapid decompression. The pilot had declared an emergency and returned back safely. Let's see how it happened. This is the downtown Portland city. And this is the Portland International Airport. Fifth Jan 2024, local time 05:07 p.m. Alaska Airlines flight number 1282 is being pushed back for takeoff. There were 2 flight crews, 4 cabin crews and 171 passengers on board. This Boeing 737 MAX aircraft is a brand new aircraft and was handed over to the airline just 2 months back. The Boeing 737 MAX airliner was grounded worldwide between March 2019 and December 2020 after 346 people died in 2 similar accidents. During the investigation, it was found out that 737 MAX had design errors associated with the development of the NTSB software, which was newly introduced. It was subsequently rectified and the aircraft was flying without any issues. Seattle Air Route Traffic Control Center had cleared the aircraft to flight level 23,000 feet. The aircraft is flying through 16,000 feet. The left door plug detached.
Emergency, we're descending down to 10,000. We'll see pressurized.
Possible AC, roger. Descend and maintain 10,000. And when able, give me the nature of the emergency and your intentions.
Portland, Alaska, or Seattle, Alaska. 1282, we just depressurized. We're declaring emergency. We need to descend down to 10,000.
The flight landed back on runway 28L without further incident and taxied to the gate with all its passengers and crews. This is the exterior view of the missing door plug. Let us see the purpose of the mid-cabin door plug. The earlier version of Boeing 737 NG had 2 passenger doors and 2 service doors in the front and rear, along with the 4 overwing emergency doors. These doors met FAA evacuation requirements. According to the FAA, aircraft manufacturers must demonstrate that all passengers and crew can evacuate an aircraft within 90 seconds using half of its exits, even if the airplane is at maximum capacity. But when Boeing introduced 737 MAX series aircrafts by stretching the fuselage capable of carrying more passengers, the earlier version of Boeing 737 NG with the 4 passenger doors and 4 service doors along with the 4 overwing emergency doors were not sufficient for emergency evacuation. Thus, the mid-cabin emergency exit doors on both sides were introduced on MAX aircrafts. The doors are plug type and must move upwards to clear the stop fittings before the door can be hinged downwards. When the door handle is moved to the open position, the pressure relief doors open to release any residual air pressure. When the handle is moved to the fully open position, the door stays in a cocked open position. The door needs to be pushed to move it down. Mid-cabin emergency exit door opening and the deployment of escape slide can be seen in this video. The accident aeroplane was equipped with 178 passenger seats for passenger comfort. Hence, there was no need for the mid-cabin emergency exit door. The airline opted for the door plug instead of the emergency door. When the Boeing 737 MAX fuselage shell is made, to standardize the production, cutouts are made on the fuselage for the installation of the mid-cabin emergency exit door, along with the passenger doors, service doors, and the overwing emergency exit door. Later, in accordance with the airline's passenger carrying configuration, mid-cabin emergency exit door or door plug is installed. There can be three types of mid-cabin exit doors. The first type is the emergency exit door with the escape slides, which can be opened during an emergency evacuation. This type is required when the airline is carrying more than 189 passengers. The second type is a deactivated emergency exit door. The third type is the door plug. This is used when the passenger carrying capacity is less than 189. This type has full-sized window and no door handle and the operating mechanism. If MAX 9 aircraft is operated with the high-density seating capacity, how to opt for mid-cabin exit doors. If operated with a less density seating capacity, that is up to 189 seats, the airline can opt for door plug, like in the case of Alaska Airlines. The Alaska had opted for a MED plug in accordance with its seating configuration. The door plug does not have a pressure relief door or a door opening handle, both inside and outside. It can be partially opened for maintenance and is hinged at the bottom and opens downwards. The door plug is not installed with a slide chute. This is the view of the door plug from inside the cabin. It will be fully covered once the cabin panels are installed. The door plug is held down by 4 bolts, 2 in the upper corners and 2 lower hinge brackets. The plug is further secured by stop fittings at 12 different locations along the side of the plug and the door frame. There are 6 stop fittings on each side of the door plug and the frame. When the door plug is closed, the upper gate roller, which is a part of the fuselage door frame, moves inside the upper gate fitting, which is a part of the door plug. The upper locking bolt and nut locks the roller pin inside the gate track, which prevents the gate track, which is a part of the door plug, inadvertently moving upwards and disengaging the door plug from the fuselage. This is a close-up of the gate track and the roller pin. The left side is the door plug and the right side is the fuselage frame, and you can also see the upper locking bolt and nut. Now we will see the lower fittings. The 2 lower hinge gate fittings are fixed to the lower section of the plug and engaged with the 2 lower hinge fittings that are attached to the bottom of the fuselage opening at the lower hinge bracket assemblies. Here also, AN6 bolt with a castle nut and a quarter pin is used to keep all together. Critical hardware holding the door plug in the lock position is again shown here: upper, lower, LH and RH. How did the Alaska Airlines door plug detached? The National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, took over the investigation. The detached door plug was recovered in the backyard of a private residence and was shipped to NTSB lab for further examination. The 12 stop pads are placed in line with the corresponding stop pins on the sides of the plug during examination. Initial examinations revealed that the plug lacked the necessary bolts that should have secured it firmly in place. This raised the suspicion about the faulty installation or inadequate maintenance procedures. Contact damage was noted on the lower sides of the 12 stop pins and fittings on the MED plug. Corresponding contact damage was noted on the stop pads and fittings attached to the fuselage. Overall, the damage was consistent with the MED plug translating upwards, outwards, and aft during the separation. At one point, the assumption was that the quarter pin on the 4 attachment bolts were not installed, which caused the castle nut to back off. But NTSB now says that none of the 4 bolts were installed. They could tell from the telltale signs on the door plug and the corresponding fittings on the door frame that these bolts were simply not installed. Now the question arises is why the MCD plug was removed. The fuselage for the Boeing 737 MAX is made at Wichita, Kansas-based Spirit Aerosystems, including all its doors. Then it is moved to the Boeing factory in Renton, Washington by rail for final assembly. At Boeing, the technicians noticed some issues with the rivets next to the door plug, and in order to repair the rivets, they removed the door plug. The photo shows the 5 locations of damaged rivets on the edge frame forward of the left door plug. This photo was taken after the damaged rivets replacement and just before interior restoration. The red circle shows 3 locations without the retaining bolts, 2 vertical movement arrestor bolts, that is bottom bolts, and the forward upper gate track bolt, that is top. The aft upper gate track cannot be seen as it is covered with insulation. In the right side photo, you can see the upper gate track properly installed. In this photo, 2 lower vertical movement arrestor bolts, castle nuts and the quarter pin all properly installed. NTSB in its preliminary report observed that none of the 4 bolts holding the door plug in the closed position was installed, subsequent to the rivet repair, for which the door plug was removed. Another important matter to be noted here is that the aircraft flew 150 flights without these bolts before it flew off. Luckily, no one was in seats 25A and 26A, the 2 seats closest to the detached door plug. The NTSB preliminary report also says that the investigation is going on.